Namaste and welcome to the Vedic Astrology course. I will give you some history about Vedic astrology. For a long time, Vedic astrology has been passed down from teacher to student. This system is called Parampara. However, due to the ambiguity of this system, it really means there's very little genuine information available in the public domain. The objective of this course is to give you as close to the source information available to help you to become Vedic astrologers. There is a very genuine reason why there is a cloud of confusion around any information, especially Vedic astrology. And this can be found in the Vedic scriptures. At this moment in time, we are in the period of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is devastating for knowledge. It corrupts everything. It is the worst period in history for knowledge to be disseminated. So, this is another reason why we have concentrated and produced this video. Kali Yuga is characterized by a fall in morality, as the amount of good in the world is reduced by 4 times from its original source. However, Vedic astrology can help with this situation, as well as helping searchers with their karma. It helps one find the truth. So it's very advantageous to understand Vedic astrology. If you like, it is the macro and it is the micro, as above, so below. So on one level, we can understand the world. On another level, we can understand ourselves. So when we are experiencing life's ups and downs, we can consult the chart, and then we can understand the effect of karma, and we can correct this karma and give ourselves a better life. In Vedic understanding, the human soul goes through cycles of reincarnation until it arrives at the highest degree of wisdom. Through this cycle, the soul receives a new physical body. However, this physical body is not certain of its character traits. There are problems, there is karma in the new life. Therefore, the location of the planet and the time of birth allows us to understand the influences of the planet and also the person's karma. We call this the natal chart. We are going to start by making a natal chart. To do this, you can download a free application. However, if you wish your astrological predictions to be accurate, then one needs greater data. And the only way this can be achieved is by purchasing a professional astrological program. Okay, to begin a Vedic reading, we need the exact time of birth and date and city, along with the inquirer's time zone. These facts are extremely necessary to calculate the position of the planets and the time of birth. For example, When we launch the program, we enter the data in order to understand the algorithms and actions. I will run the program to allow you to see the location of the planners and the houses. Firstly, we will study an example of the northern style, where the houses are fixed, but the signs are moving around. Such a natal chart looks like this. Let us open up our preferred example. This is the main chart, Jana Lagna. These are the triangles of the houses of the horoscope, the Parvas. There are 12 of them. The order of the houses starts from 1st to 12th in an anti-clockwise order. Next, you see the numbers in the corners of the houses. These are designations of the zodiac signs. Aries, Taurus, etc. These astrological signs of the first house depends on the rising sign at the time of the birth of a person. A rising sign is an important indicator of a person's fate and personality. It goes through the entire zodiacal circles of 12 signs in 24 hours. During different times of the Earth's movement, its rotation, an astrological sign appears on the horizon. Very powerful energy goes to Earth from the horizon, and it greatly influences the place where a person is born or located at birth, if you like. Your ascendant sign or rising sign is a zodiac constellation that ascends over the eastern part of the horizon at the time of your birth. This is where the sun rises every morning. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So the constellation zodiac signs rise in the east and set in the west. This is why the sign ascending from the horizon very strongly influences the person at their time of birth. This is the most important point in the horoscope. A strong Lagna is able to support a person in the most difficult times that appear in their lives, while a person with a weak Lagna stops fighting, gives up. Therefore, a strong Lagna can pull out and support the entire horoscope. Moreover, the Lagna degrees and zodiac signs itself are also important because this already fully imprints on the person, on their character, appearance, habits, different preferences. For example, you can read two people's charts who were born with a difference of several days or one day. However, their time of birth and place are different. Resultantly, these factors will create very different people in nature and events. Each house of the horoscope is responsible for different areas of our life. For example, the first house, Lagna, I will use professional terms from now that you become familiar with them. This is the house of personality, showing our character and the way people see us. It illustrates self-confidence as well as the beginning of life. Our face, our appearance, it is responsible for head, face, forehead, from head to neck. In other words, the skull. The second house is the house of finance, the house of the parental family. The family in which we were raised, it includes the type of upbringing. This house is an indicator of our nutrition, education in childhood, speech and voice qualities. In terms of health, it is responsible for speech, defects as well as vision. It is also an indicator of a second marriage. The third house is the house of own effort. It shows signs of courage, bravery, or lack of them. It illustrates willpower, an ability to write, and it is responsible for short trips. However, this house shows artistry and is responsible for all work done by the hand. In areas of health, it is responsible for the right ear, shoulders, and hands. It's also the house of younger brothers and sisters. The fourth house, known as Mother's House, it shows the relationship with the mother and the mother herself. It is responsible for the inner happiness, for the level of satisfaction with life. It is an indicator of savings in the form of movable and immovable. It shows property and land. It's also an indicator of higher education and academic degrees. Health-wise, it's responsible for the chest area and the heart. The fifth house, this is the house of creativity, also the house of children. It shows intelligence, moral principles, an indicator of relationship with children and their number. It shows the stock of piety from previous lives. It is an indicator of love from a spouse as well as romantic relationships. Health-wise, it's digestion. This house also represents the solar plexus area. The sixth house, this is the house of service, of enemies' debt, health in general. It shows state structures such as police, medicine. However, it also encapsulates spheres such as being a restaurateur or working in agriculture. Generally, the service sector, or if you like, work in a submissive position. The sixth house is also the pet house. It also indicates whether a person will or will not have debts, whether there will be enemies, and more importantly, can they be defeated. The sixth house is also an indicator of the maternal uncle. The seventh house, the partner's house, shows relationships with spouses in general and is responsible for the first marriage. However, it also shows business partners and it indicates travel or working abroad. Health-wise, this is responsible for the back and the veins. The eighth house is the house of death, also the house of inheritance. It shows life expectancy, as well as income from the spouse. It's also responsible for other people's money, for example, receiving an inheritance. It influences heavily mysticism, eroticism, occultism, and scientific experiments, along with intimate spheres of life. The eighth house influences include the reproduction system. However, it's also an indicator of one's life, therefore one's life insurance. It is also responsible for accidents and chronic diseases, along with sexual activity. Health-wise, it covers genealogy, urology, and the reproductive system. The ninth house, this is the house of luck, the father's house. It shows our father, our relationship with him. This is also an indicator of spiritual teacher, along with spiritual knowledge. This house indicates religion and level of spirituality. Also, the reserve of piety in a person's life. The ninth house is also responsible for the ability to transfer knowledge. It is responsible for higher spiritual knowledge. Health-wise, this house influences the hips. The 10th house, this is the house of career, social activity, the ability to work for somebody else. It is responsible for self-realization, along with career growth. Health-wise, it is responsible for the knees. The 11th house, this is the house of friends. It's also responsible for ambitions, a house of own business. It's responsible for the fulfillment of desires. It shows older brothers and sisters and parental indicators, and it's also an indicator of unexpected profit. Health-wise, this house concentrates on the ankles. The 12th house, this is the house of loss. It shows expenses, losses, also movement to different countries, moving abroad, if you like. It also indicates secret enemies and is responsible for privacy and places of solitude. Unfortunately, this will include prisons, hospitals, as well as monasteries and other types of solitude. The house of future life. Moksha, liberation, great. Health is left ear, left eye, and feet. The houses themselves are divided into 4 types. Trikona, houses, 1st, 5th, and 9th. Lakshmi houses, planets in these houses always improve and give good results. Dharma houses are the best houses. Any Dharma houses connection is good for a person. However, the 9th house is the strongest trikona. Any planet improves owning to trichonas. Planets that are in trikona are greatly improved. Even a planet in a retrograde fall. This is especially relevant in the 9th house. However, the indicators of the 9th house suffer from this, and the houses they occupy flourish. Kendra houses 1, 4, 7, and 10 are corner houses. Any planet falling within these houses are enhanced and will be manifested within a person's character. The strongest Kendra is in the 10th house, the weakest being the 1st. The 1st house belongs to both Kendra and Trikona, but the Trikona will always outweigh any planet in the 1st, and therefore always strengthens and improves. The influence of the planets in Kendra is very significant, as it clearly is reflected in the human psyche. If a person does not have planets in Kendra, then they will not be noticeable in society, even if they are talented. However, favourable planets in these houses weaken slightly. Unfavourable planets give positive results. Upper trine houses 3, 6, 10, 11, unfavourable planets in these houses are strengthened. Favourable ones give neutral results. In general, it is considered that upper trine houses are the houses that can be improved hundreds of times regardless of karma. They can be levelled up, so to speak. Upachaya are the houses of growth. Unfavourable planets in these houses are amplified, and over time, their manifestation in a person's life becomes favourable. However, any adverse planet also gives good results falling into these houses. It is believed that one of the indicators of good karma of a person is the fact that malefic planets in their charts are in Upachaya houses. Favourable planets in Upachaya houses act neutrally. The 11th house is the strongest of Upachaya, and the 3rd house is the weakest. Every planet gets negative energy from owning an Upachaya house. Dusthana houses 2, 6, 8 and 12. In these houses, any planet worsens and gives unfavourable results. However, any planet that owns a Dusthana brings negative energy and causes disorder in areas of the houses where it is located. Favourable planets in bad houses lose their power, as the bad planets lose their destructive power in them. In the 6th house, the favourable planets worsen, while the unfavourable ones improve, as in the 6th house, which is an Upachaya house. However, I would like to mention, if there is a planet in one of these houses, it will cause diseases. For example, Rahu in the 6th house shows good mental health. We must remember the moon behaves at its worst in bad houses. The moon and Mercury are 2 of the most sensitive planets, and they are very dependent on their environment. For example, Mercury can become evil if it is situated close to or near an evil planet, although it also can be vice versa. I would like to explain something about the moon. It is bad for the moon if it is located in a house where there are no other planets in the neighbouring houses. The moon will suffer from this. On the other hand, 2nd and 7th are Maraka houses, or houses of death. These houses and their planet rulers are the cause of death. This will be analysed in more detail with you during lectures on transit periods. The 3rd and 8th houses are houses of vitality. If they are strong, a person can survive the most serious diseases along with the most difficult situations. The first lectures are the most difficult, especially if you have never been interested in astrology before. However, constant familiarisation and use allows the system to be easily absorbed mentally, especially when you start opening several natal charts of people you are close to. Everything becomes mastered faster in the process of training. Subsequent lectures will be easier and easier for you. Let us continue. Each house has a planet ruler, the lord of the house, which is determined by the sign that occupies the house. Therefore, the planet ruler of Cancer is the moon, Leo, the sun, Gemini, Virgo, Mercury, Taurus, Libra, Venus, Aries, Scorpio, sign is Mars, Pisces and Sagittarius is Jupiter, Aquarius and Capricorn is Saturn. If we look, for example, at the 2nd house, we see the sign of Cancer. Therefore, The lord of the second house is the moon. Next is the third house, Leo. Is therefore the lord of the third house is the sun, and so on. The seventh house is in the sign of Sagittarius, and the planet ruler of the house will be Jupiter. Okay, let us analyse the signs of the zodiac. The zodiac circle begins with Aries, and it is the first sign of the natural horoscope. A natural horoscope means when in the first house is the sign of Aries. Aries is an active sign, purposeful, effective. He likes to criticise and does not tolerate objections. Arians want everything quickly, here and now. Arians, they are good athletes. Militarily, they love rivalry. However, they can often be assertive. Arians show little emotion, and they can be very self-centered. It can be said that it's very difficult to contact an Arian. Taurians are usually stocky. They love to accumulate. They love their homes and are very attached to them. Taurians love harmony. They're very creative people. They like to be in a partnership. These people usually choose creative professions. Gemini is an active, mobile, sociable sign. People of this sign are gifted with excellent mental abilities and eloquence. They are fluent in language. This allows them to be excellent writers, journalists, and working in media. They are fluent in language, which allows them to be poets, writers, programmers, anything to do with fluidity. Geminians are very successful at working with information and statistics, and therefore very good at research work. Cancer is a caring sign. Cancerians are very sensitive and have good intuition. These people often show loyalty to friends and partners. Cancerians appreciate human interaction and connection, especially on a personal level. Cancerians, they are very emotionally based. They like interaction. Cancerians love contact with other people. You can often tell a person who has cancer within their house because their own houses are full of guests and people. Leo, often noticed for what we can say leadership qualities. However, they're often described as bossy. But this doesn't bother a Leo, because usually they have very big egos. Because of this, they are natural leaders. They are not followers. Despite their egocentrism, Leos do have a noble heart, and they tend to be fiercely loyal. Leos have very strong emotions, and they tend not to show their best side. When it comes to choosing partners, they'll often choose a partner what they consider lower than themselves, so they can domineer that partner. Virgos, they like order in everything. They are very logical, very statistical people. Everything they touch, everything they do, must have a sense of being and order. People who are born under Virgo tend to be very good workers. However, they're much more suited to a subordinate role as opposed to a managerial role. Virgo people tend to be picky and find fault with almost everything. However, this pernickety attitude can be cultured and formed to find really high spiritual and philosophical ideals. For this reason, Virgos can be quite difficult to get along with. However, if their attention is directed and they understand, then they are exemplary to be with. Librans. This is considered the best sign for business for many reasons. However, the main reason is Librans like equality and balance, and therefore they are very good at communication. As well as business, Librans tend to lean towards artistry. Many top artists are Librans. Librans like paradise on earth, if you like. However, they tend to be very attractive people, but don't mistake this attractiveness for love. It usually comes from a very powered sexual direction. Librans are naturally attractive and full of charm. They use this power very often, and many people mistake this beauty and charm for love. However, it's usually coming from a sex-orientated direction. Most Librans are not interested in family either. As a rule, a Libran is not interested in family. However, with the influence of Venus, this can be changed, and they become very affected by family. Because they want this paradise, this utopian ideal, they strive towards it under the influence of Venus. Librans like to surround themselves with influential people, famous people. This is very much their ideal. You will often find Librans being excessively successful in their lives. Scorpions, usually quiet and sensitive people. They're a very sexy sign. Many people find them attractive. However, they are quite loyal. Scorpions are naturally drawn to the occult. However, they're also the sign which is good for business. So generally speaking, if somebody is good at entrepreneurship or making business, this person is likely to be a Scorpion. Sagittarian. This is a very purposeful sign. It's also a philosophical sign. Sagittarians, however, tend to be like fire. They will catch on to something but easily blow out. Because they're a fire sign, they also tend to be quite arrogant. Although all this is true, it is considered one of the more spiritual signs. Capricorn, the goat. As the goat suggests, they are stubborn. However, if meticulous work is needed or arduous work is needed, then somebody who is of the Capricorn sign is a good choice. They will stay steadfast until the work is done. They tend to be materialistic, but they really enjoy subordination. However, people of this sign tend to be slow at starting, but they always complete. Aquarians fall into a very strange category. They tend to be selfish, but on the same hand, they can be altruistic. So it's very difficult to pigeonhole somebody who is Aquarian. Pisces is a person who has a lot of compassion. A Piscean is somebody who is truly philosophical. They like to deeply think, and they also like to harmonise with that thought. When considering the planet, we'll take into account and combine a variety of factors. We will consider the power of the planets and assess it depending on the strength of the planet. We will assess its manifestation in a person's life. There are signs in which the planet feels good. Signs of exaltation, Mula Trikona. However, there are signs in which the planet's feeling bad. Debilitation, falling. There is a position of the planets in their own signs. However, there is also a neutral position of planets. What does it mean to feel good or bad? It means that its own sign, the sign of exaltation, Mula Trikona, the planet will show its best qualities and strengths. During the falling, the planet may not show their good qualities or show negative ones. I'd like to give some examples. Venus in Pisces exalts. A person who understands what's beauty and creativity. They try to surround themselves with beautiful objects and can sincerely love. However, at the position of Venus in Virgo, all will not be manifested in a person's life. They will most likely be indifferent to the beauty and the comfort of their surroundings. I would like to show a table of the planets and their signs. Here you need to list the order of all the planets. For example, for the Sun, Leo is in its own sign. Mula Trikona in Leo also gets the Sun. The Sun exalts in Aries and is false in Libra, and at the same time with all the planets on the table. For example, planet Mercury, own sign is Gemini. The Mula Trikona is Virgo. The exaltation is Virgo. The debilitation is Pisces. It's very important to understand this combination because it will aid in giving accurate readings. Moreover, the same can be said about the location of planets in the houses, Digbala. In such houses, the planet is revealed as much as possible and it gives good results. Mercury and Jupiter get the Digbala in the first house. Venus and Moon in the 4th house, Saturn in the 7th house, Moon and the Sun are in the 10th house. In these houses, the planets do their best to show their best qualities. Next, you need to consider to what degrees the planet is located. The term boarding degrees. It means that the planet is located in a range from 0 to 2 degrees and from 28 to 30 degrees. In such degrees, the planet is considered to be weak. It gives poor results, shows its quality negativity, even if it's situated in a good house. For example, Venus combust when it is in the same house with the Sun at a distance of fewer than 5 degrees. Jupiter combust is when it's in the same house with the Sun at a distance fewer than 7 degrees. However, if there is a retrograde planet, then it can combust even at a distance of 5 degrees. Mercury combust when it is in the same house with the Sun is at a distance fewer than 3 degrees. Mars combust when it is in the same house with the Sun at a distance of fewer than 5 degrees. Saturn combust when it is in the same house with the Sun at a distance fewer than 10 degrees. There is an exception to this rule. When a planet comes closer to the Sun more than 1 degree, The planet, on the contrary, does not combust, however, becomes super strong and begins to give many good results. Let us consider such a thing as Parivartana Yoga. Parivartana Yoga is when lords of two houses are placed in each other's houses. For example, in a horoscope placement of planet Mercury in Libra and planet, Venus placement in Gemini will be considered as Parivartana Yoga between Venus and Mercury. Exchange of houses. Parivartana Yoga. For example, Venus is located in the sign of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. To exchange houses, Jupiter needs to be located in one of the signs of Venus, i.e. Taurus or Libra. Then we will have Parivartana Yoga, the exchange of houses. The exchange of houses also produces good results for the planet and points to a more extended relationship of these houses. One is exchanging houses in the horoscope. The planets act as one. Bhavas. Houses involved in the exchange indicate the spheres of life affected by the exchange. For example, if the combination involves the seventh house, the exchange of the planet will lead to changes in relationship. If Lagna is involved, there will be a change in the character of a person. However, there is also a concept like a planetary wall, a position where planets occupy 1 degree in the house. In a planetary wall, a planet with a lower degree wins and takes away the good qualities of the losing planet, thereby enhancing its natural qualities. The Sun and Moon, Rahu and Ketu, do not participate in a planetary war. For example, if Mercury loses in a war, then a person will be inclined to lie. However, if Saturn loses, then the person will have problems with a sense of time. If Jupiter loses, then there will be problems with children and the Dharma. If Mars loses, then there will be problems with Mars. Moreover, there will be problems with the manifestation and implementation of ambitions. The person will be decisive, however, at the most important moment, they will retreat. If Venus loses, the person will have attachments and dependencies. If you use a professional astrological application, the error in calculations is unlikely. However, if you use free and non-professional applications, you should definitely keep track of the most correct display of time zones and coordinates of the place of birth. For example, in Russia there is such a thing as daylight time, and some countries and individual cities do not make the transition from winter to summertime. It is better to check coordinates of the city of birth. For example, you can use the website wemakemaps.com. For GPS coordinates, for information on time zones, please visit hologpalante.com or their alternatives. This is very important because it can change the interpretation of the horoscope. Severe errors in the horoscope can be due to incorrect birth data, including coordinates and time of birth. Namaste.